Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with students in the 9th edition of Pariksha Pe Charcha, says need to strike balance between life skills and professional skills. U.S and Iran begin talks in Oman. Washington keeps military option open. Tehran warns against excessive demands. The United States called for three-way nuclear talks with Russia and China, while Russia's ambassador pushes to include Paris and London in talks. An explosion rocks Islamabad in Pakistan, at least 30 killed, over 100 injured. Our top story, Iran and the United States hold talks on Friday in Oman over Tehran's nuclear program. Oman's foreign ministry said talks with Iran and US focused on preparing appropriate conditions for resuming diplomatic and technical negotiations. Iran's foreign minister Prasar Bharati has said that Tehran maintains full readiness to defend the country's sovereignty and national security against any excessive demands or adventurism by the United States. Meanwhile, on Thursday, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt warned Iran and said Trump has many options at his disposal aside from diplomacy. Responding on the talks, Kremlin has said that it hopes that negotiations between Iran and the United States would yield results and lead to a de-escalation, and urge all sides to show restraint in the meantime. The United States on Friday called for a new arms control agreement after a New START nuclear treaty expired on Thursday. The U.S. Under Secretary of State for Arms Control said that extending the treaty would not benefit the U.S. or the world, as it was flawed and did not include China.
It's been pretty clear that he wants a better agreement. As we all know, New START expired yesterday. The President clarified again last night that he wants a new treaty. And look, in a nutshell, New START was flawed. It didn't cover theater range nuclear weapons, and it didn't include China.
On Thursday, U.S. President Donald Trump has rejected the offer from his Russian counterpart to voluntarily extend their caps on strategic nuclear weapons deployments after the treaty expired. Meanwhile, Russian Ambassador Gennady Gatlov said on Friday that other nuclear-armed states such as Paris and Britain should be included in any new nuclear talks with the United States after Washington called for three-way negotiations with Moscow and Beijing. A Russian military officer, Lieutenant General Vladimir Alexeyev, shot and wounded in Moscow on Friday. He was shot multiple times at a residential building in northwest Moscow by an unidentified assailant who fled the scene. Several senior Russian officers have been killed since the war in Ukraine began, with Moscow blaming Kiev. News coming in: over 30 people have been killed and injured, over 100 people in a blast at a mosque in Islamabad. An explosion ripped through a Shiite mosque in Pakistan's capital city of Islamabad on Friday. The blast occurred after Friday prayers in the mosque. As per sources, a suicide attacker was responsible for the deadly blast. Police said that the several people have been shifted to the hospital. But the type of explosion is not yet clear. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif condemned the blast. Moving on, the United Nations on Thursday condemned a terrorist attack in Nigeria's Kwara state that killed at least 170 people and called for those responsible to be brought to justice.
General strongly condemns the terrorist attack of February 3rd in Kwara State in Nigeria, which reportedly killed over 100 people. The Secretary General conveys his heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims and to the people and government of Nigeria, and he, of course, wishes a speedy recovery to all those injured.
Now, fighting between Congo's army and rebel groups has intensified in the mountains north of Fizi in South Kivu. Local medical facilities and raising fears of wider escalation in eastern Congo's long-running conflict. The fighting unfolding away from urban areas and largely overlooked by international mediators is drawing in more forces from all sides in the war in eastern Congo, with the potential to further complicate efforts by the Trump administration to bring peace and Western minerals investments to the region. Moving on, Bangladesh police on Friday blocked a march by government employees in Dhaka demanding the immediate implementation of the 9th pay scale. The police used water cannons, batons and sound grenades near Chief Advisor Yunus's residence, leaving several protesters reportedly injured. Tensions remain high as another group continued a sit-in nearby, demanding a UN-led probe into a separate demand. Now, Europe's gas storage has dropped to its lowest level since 2022, with a harsh winter driving demand sharply higher. The decline has pushed gas prices to a 10-month high this week. And for more, we are joined by DW correspondent Chimponda Chimbolu in Berlin. Hi, Chimponda. What else is behind unusually low storage levels this winter?
Last summer, gas prices were very high, and normally what happens in the summer is that because there is less gas usage, the surplus is stored. But that is not what happened last year because of the high prices. Now, energy experts actually call that a negative summer-winter spread. And the market is what determines how much storage facilities are getting filled. And that is also the case here in Germany. And so the government doesn't actually intervene in all of this when it comes to gas storage levels. Now, utilities have also been unable to stock up to previous levels in recent weeks because gas prices have been trading at the highest levels in 10 months. And that's, of course, also linked to the severe winter storms in the United States, which also happens to be the biggest supplier of LNG to Europe. Now, last month, the United States actually accounted for 60% of Europe's gas supplies. So the market and the weather are both to blame.
All right, Chimponda, also, is the gas supply still secure, or are there concerns about shortages?
A government spokesperson we spoke with here at DW told us that the government doesn't currently see any threat to the gas supply here. And he also went on to add that gas storage levels aren't the only indicator of Germany's gas supply, because a big proportion of it also comes via pipelines and LNG transports from neighboring countries. So even if the winter conditions were to worsen, the gas supplies are secure according to the government. And the only thing that would potentially disrupt supply would be a terrorist attack or a failure at a major import pipeline. Now, the energy industry shares a similar view, but the expert we spoke with here at DW got a bit more concrete about the current storage levels. He told us that Germany has enough gas, but that is if the extremely cold spell doesn't last longer than up to, say, 2 weeks. So we do really have to keep an eye on how cold it is going to be over the coming weeks.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a 2-day official visit to Malaysia on Saturday. RBI holds first monetary policy review meeting of 2026, keeps repo rate unchanged at 5.25%. And India posts mammoth 411 runs in Under-19 World Cup final against England in Harare.
Food systems contribute to a third of global planet warming emission. In today's episode, let's take a look at what happens when food systems stop working for everyone.
After Hati Bondo arrived, we discussed as a village the challenge that we were facing. And we came to the conclusion that we should sow some crops, especially for the elephants.
The Meramo Cafe is basically promoting the circular economy. So there's not much transportation involved in that process. So this is one way that we are reducing the carbon emission from that point of view.
Is probably laughing because despite the fact that they're cleaning up other people's problems for free, it seems like nobody here actually wants them to be doing it.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. As exam season draws closer, the country's most awaited student-centric dialogue is back to ensure students give exams with confidence and positivity. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's unique interactive program with students, Pariksha Pe Charcha 2026, now in its 9th edition, was held today. Addressing the students, PM Modi stressed that education should not feel like a burden and it needs our total involvement. He added that education in bits and pieces does not ensure success. Instead of focusing on marks, everyone should focus on where they have made it in life. The Prime Minister stressed that education is just a medium of our development and exams should never be the ultimate goal. Rather, the ultimate goal is all-round development. And during the interaction, PM Modi told the students that both skills and marks are important and must be balanced for overall growth. He emphasized that life skills and continuous learning, not just academic scores, shape long-term success.
मेरा नाम सबावत वेंकटेश है।
हाँ वेंकटेश गारू बताइए।
तो सर अभी मुझे है ना टेक्नोलॉजी और रोबोटिक्स में बहुत इंटरेस्ट है। तो आजकल कई बार आपने भी बोला था कि स्किल ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है और बाहर भी लोग बोलते हैं मार्क्स ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, स्किल ज़रूरी है, मार्क्स ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है। ऐसा ही सोच के हमारे अंदर एक डर बैठ जाता है। तो आप बताइए कि स्किल ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है या फिर मार्क्स ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है?
ये जो मन में रहता है ना कि इसका महत्व है कि उसका महत्व है, खाने का महत्व है कि सोने का महत्व है, पढ़ने का महत्व है कि खेलने का महत्व है, उसका एक कॉमन जवाब होता है, हर चीज में संतुलन होना चाहिए, बैलेंस होना चाहिए। एक तरफ झुकोगे तो गिरोगे कि नहीं गिरोगे?
Yes, sir.
और सही बैलेंस करके रहोगे तो गिरोगे क्या कभी?
No, sir.
तो ये सिंपल सी बात है। अब दूसरी बात है, स्किल में भी दो प्रकार के स्किल है। एक है लाइफ स्किल, दूसरा है प्रोफेशनल स्किल। उसमें भी कोई मुझे पूछेगा कि साहब लाइफ स्किल में ध्यान देना चाहिए कि प्रोफेशनल, मैं कहूंगा दोनों में देना चाहिए। अब मुझे बताइए, बिना अध्ययन किए, बिना ऑब्जर्वेशन किए, बिना ज्ञान प्राप्त किए कोई भी स्किल आ सकता है क्या?
No, sir.
तो स्किल की शुरुआत तो ज्ञान से ही होती है।
Yes, sir.
तो उसका महत्व कम नहीं है। मान लीजिए हम बहुत बढ़िया पढ़ लिए हैं, लेकिन एक बार अचानक माँ बाप को बाहर जाना हुआ, अब हमें भूखे मर रहे हैं, किचन में सब पढ़ा है लेकिन पता ही नहीं कैसे करूं, क्या करूं, किस डब्बे में क्या है, कैसे निकालूं। क्यों? हमने कभी ध्यान ही नहीं दिया। जो इसलिए लाइफ स्किल जीवन की रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी है, इसमें हमारी लाइफ स्किल अच्छे से अच्छी कैसे हो। मेरा सुबह उठने का समय क्या है, सोने का समय क्या है, मैं व्यायाम करता हूं तो मेरी उम्र के हिसाब से मैं व्यायाम करता हूं, मुझे नया व्यायाम में सीखता हूं कि नहीं सीखता हूं। मैं किसी को मिलने जाता हूं तो मुझे बातचीत करना कॉन्फिडेंस से आता है कि नहीं आता है। मुझे रेलवे स्टेशन पे गया और मुझे मालूम ही नहीं है भाई टिकट कहाँ से लेना, तो मैं 10 लोगों को पूछता हूँ भाई टिकट कहाँ से लेता हूँ। तो लाइफ स्किल जो है वो हमने आत्मसात करनी ही करनी चाहिए। अब दूसरा विषय प्रोफेशनल स्किल। आप मानो डॉक्टर बनने वाले हैं तो डॉक्टरी की स्किल आपकी एकदम से अपडेट होनी चाहिए। ऐसा नहीं कि मैं नंबर 1 हो गया था यूनिवर्सिटी में और इसलिए मैं ऑपरेशन करूं या ना करूं चल जाएगा, ऐसा नहीं है। आपको अगर हार्ट स्पेशलिस्ट बनना है तो किताबें आपको हार्ट स्पेशलिस्ट बनने में मदद कर सकती है, हार्ट स्पेशलिस्ट नहीं बना सकती। हार्ट स्पेशलिस्ट तो आप तब बनेंगे जब एक्चुअली आप पेशेंट के साथ, उसके हर स्टेजेस के साथ जुड़ करके अपना स्किल डेवलप करोगे। अगर आपको वकील बनना है, आपको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की सारी धाराएं पता है, इस धारा में इतनी सजा होती है, इस धारा से ऐसे बेल मिलता है, सब मालूम है। लेकिन अगर आपको अदालत में जाकर के एक वकील के रूप में तैयार होना है तो किसी वकील का जूनियर बनना पड़ता है, प्रोफेशनल स्किल सीखनी पड़ती है, उसमें से आपको आगे आना होता है। और इसलिए लाइफ स्किल, उसमें कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं है, 100% वो तो अचीव करना ही चाहिए। प्रोफेशनल स्किल, जिस प्रोफेशन में इंटरेस्ट है, इसमें लगातार नया करते जाना। अब उसमें भी पहले हार्ट के पेशेंट को इतनी टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं थी, आज टेक्नोलॉजी आ गई, तो आपकी उम्र भले 40 साल हो गई होगी, लेकिन आपको टेक्नोलॉजी पढ़नी पड़ेगी। तो शिक्षा और स्किल एक दूसरे के जुड़वा भाई बहन है, वो दो अलग नहीं है, लेकिन स्किल जीवन में बहुत अनिवार्य है।
And during the interaction, PM Modi told the students that success does not depend on comfort or ideal conditions, but on determination and mindset. He emphasized that resilience, not comfort zones, shapes achievement.
मेरा नाम नीडूमलय बर्मन है। तो सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि छोटे घर, शोर और कामकाज के बीच मतलब पढ़ना अक्सर थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है, और अगर माता पिता हमारे सपनों को उतना सपोर्ट नहीं करते, उतना गंभीरता से नहीं लेते, तो अब हम क्या कर सकते?
देखिए, मैं बताता हूँ, मैंने एक वीडियो देखा था सोशल मीडिया जो मेरे मन को छू गया था। एक पिताजी बैलगाड़ी में अपना जो रोजी रोटी कमाने के लिए कुछ सामान लेकर के जा रहे थे, और उनका बच्चा उस बैलगाड़ी में सामान भरा पड़ा था, ऊपर कहीं सामान के ऊपर बैठा हुआ था, लेकिन क्या कर रहा था, वो अपनी किताब पढ़ रहा, यानी वो कंफर्ट की चिंता नहीं कर रहा।
यस सर।
कुछ लोग होते हैं कि भाई नींद नहीं आती, क्यों नहीं आती? कमरा ऐसा है, अगर उसको 5 स्टार होटल में रखोगे ना तो भी नींद नहीं आएगी। तो ये जो सोच है कि सुविधा होगी तो क्षमता आएगी, ऐसा नहीं है। हमारे देश में बोर्ड की एग्जाम में जो नंबर लाते हो बच्चे कौन हैं? छोटे छोटे गांव के हैं। पहले क्या होता था, बड़े परिवार के, बड़ी स्कूल के बच्चे ही। अब ऐसा नहीं है, छोटे छोटे परिवार के थे। अब वहां तो कोई कंफर्ट नहीं है। देखिए, अभी मैं ब्लाइंड क्रिकेट टीम से बच्चियों को मिला और वो जीत करके आई थी। जब मैंने उनको सुना तो अपने आंख में आंसू आ गए। ऐसी बातें थी, घर नहीं है और ब्लाइंड है, खेलना सीख रहा, दिव्यांग होने के बावजूद भी वो यहाँ तक पहुंच गई। तो उसको कहाँ पैदा हुई, कहाँ रहती थी, उसमें मैटर नहीं करता था। तो हम कंफर्ट जोन ही जीवन बनाता है, ये भ्रम में नहीं रहना चाहिए। जीवन बनता है जिंदगी जीने के तरीके से।
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi's unique interactive program with students, Pariksha Pe Charcha's 9th edition was viewed by students in Kuala Lumpur too. Students, teachers gathered to watch it live, reflecting a shared commitment to education, well-being and positive exam preparation.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 9th edition of Pariksha Pe Charcha was watched here in Kuala Lumpur as well, and so many students from the Indian origin whose families are living here and they are studying here in international schools have watched Pariksha Pe Charcha. We'll talk to a few of them on what kind of inspiration you derived from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Pariksha Pe Charcha.
I felt really good that he understood the feelings of our students, and the resolutions that he gave us was really good.
So how do you see, these suggestions and tips from the Prime Minister help you in your studies, in, daily studies in day-to-day life?
It helps me a lot. I meditate every day and it helps me calm my mind, and I'm not that stressful, or I won't be restless. I will be focusing on one thing at a time, and it helps me to maintain my time, everything.
We are also joined in by the principal. Ma'am, what what has been the driving force behind hosting this event where you are showing Pariksha Pe Charcha to the students here in Kuala Lumpur?
Not a single prime minister I've seen before him who has actually given this much of time and thought and interact with children, young children. These days children are very stressed out. Prime Minister organizes Pariksha Pe Charcha, giving little tips from his own life, and then our children are getting the benefit.
So whatever he is talking about regarding Pariksha Pe Charcha, it's not only tips for students, it is also for the teachers. We learn a lot. He is indirectly giving ideas even for the teachers to plan their own strategies, how to handle students during their pressure time.
So, students also taking inspiration. So, Pariksha Pe Charcha is not only now about, how to tackle exams, how to actually battle the exam pressure, but also now it's becoming more about how students should carry out their studies, how their mental development should be, how their physical development should be, how there should be this balance that Prime Minister Narendra Modi talked about. With camera person Jagmohan, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a two-day official visit to Malaysia on Saturday. India and Malaysia are strengthening people-to-people ties, with tourism emerging as a major bridge between the two nations. With easier travel, cultural connections and growing interest from Indian travellers, Malaysia is fast becoming one of the most preferred international destinations.
From the iconic Petronas Twin Towers to the pristine beaches of Langkawi, Malaysia offers a vibrant mix of modern city life, natural beauty and rich cultural heritage. Indian tourists are increasingly drawn to the country for its affordability, diverse cuisine and short travel time.
India and Malaysia is a very high priority for both the governments. Keeping this in mind, the government of Malaysia has allowed Indian nationals to have a visa on arrival or a visa-free travel to Malaysia, starting with December of 2024. Now we are into the second year of operation, and on the other hand, Government of India has given the Malaysian citizens what we call e-visas, number one, in all sectors except, as you know, employment and students. But and secondly, e-tourism visa is gratis for Malaysian nationals.
Strong historical and cultural links, including a large Indian diaspora in Malaysia, make Indian visitors feel instantly at home. Travel operators report a steady rise in bookings from Indian cities across leisure and business segments.
The reason for choosing Malaysia is too safe for the Indians, and that connectivity with Malaysia is good, and the Indian cuisine is available easily, and there are too many Indians in Malaysia, so it's an easy holiday destination for us, and hope it continues like this.
Over here we have come with a group of around 110 packs, 110 or 115. They have a conference out here. It's a good place. We have been to Genting Island yesterday, and it was great. And now today we took them to the Batu Caves, and now for the lunch. It's going great. Yeah. A good place.
Improved air connectivity, simplified visa processes, and targeted tourism campaigns have further boosted travel between the two countries.
As India's outbound travel continues to grow, Malaysia is positioning itself as a welcoming, accessible and a very culturally rich location tourism destination. With tourism ties deepening, we will definitely be able to see that this cooperation, both the countries have a lot to gain from. With camera person Jagmohan, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
And the Reserve Bank of India held its first monetary policy review meeting of the year 2026. RBI kept the key policy rate, repo rate, unchanged at 5.25%. In this monetary policy easing cycle, the central bank has cut the repo rate by a cumulative 125 basis points or 1.25%, making loan EMIs cheaper. Consumer price index inflation has been benign, hitting its lowest level in this data series in October 2025.
After a detailed assessment of the evolving macroeconomic conditions and the economic outlook, the MPC voted unanimously to keep the policy repo rate unchanged at 5.25%. Consequently, the STF rate remains at 5% and the MSF rate and the bank rate at 5.5%.
And RBI Governor Sanjay Malhotra said that the GDP growth has beaten all expectations so far this fiscal year. He added that India is set to grow at over 7%, retaining its tag of being the world's fastest growing major economy.
The Indian economy continues on a steady improving trajectory, with real GDP poised to register significant higher growth of 7.4% this year as compared to the previous year. Amidst global headwinds, the MPC therefore was of the view that the current policy rate is appropriate, and accordingly it voted to continue with the existing policy rate. It also agreed to retain the neutral stance.
Cricket now. India have posted a formidable 411 runs for 9 against England in the Under-19 Cricket World Cup final in Harare after a swashbuckling century from Vaibhav Suryavanshi. India's teen sensation Suryavanshi blazed away to the second fastest 100 in the history of Under-19 World Cup, racing to the landmark in just 55 balls. The 14-year-old, who made 175 of 80 deliveries, also surpassed his own record of 14 sixes in a youth ODI innings. Suryavanshi put on 142 runs in just 19 overs and has also become the youngest centurion in the history of the tournament. All right, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from All First Air in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.